Oh.
Now, for many of us, going on holiday means sun, sea, sand and maybe the odd bit of sightseeing. But what if the ideal getaway turns into a logistical nightmare?
Well, for people with a disability, that's unfortunately too often the case. New figures show that out of the top UK tourist destinations which responded to a request for information, almost 2/3 of them didn't have full wheelchair access and only 13% had given their staff specialist training. Our disability correspondent Nikki Fox has more.
I'm a real daredevil and I like heights and things and fast rides, so I did want to go on the big one. And they finally opened it after hours of queuing, and bearing in mind I've been excited about this for like a year. I get to the ride and they say I can't get on.
Nicky Shepherd is 14 and has cerebral palsy. He's a volunteer lighting technician, mobile DJ and aspiring actor. He's been enjoying rides at theme parks like Blackpool Pleasure Beach for years, but this year was different.
They said, sorry, if you can't walk unaided, then you can't get on the ride. My dad was helping me like he normally would, like he did last year, and in front of all my friends, this staff member said to me, that's dodgy walking, we can't let you on. As far as I'm concerned, putting a ramp up to a ride and saying it's accessible is not right. It's only accessible if you let people with wheelchairs actually go on the ride.
Blackpool Pleasure Beach say it's taking Nicky's comments very seriously and has launched a comprehensive review. But just how easy is it for people with disabilities to have a ride on the big one like Nicky, go on holiday, lie on the beach, get a tan, enjoy themselves? Earlier this summer, I went down to meet the then Minister for Disabled People, Mike Penning, in his hometown.
The other side of the pier is accessible, I know that. I've never looked at it like the way we're looking at it today.
If we were here together, I'd just have to get on your back, wouldn't I?
I'll throw it over my shoulder. There you are, pushchair and disabled access.
There we go.
That's to the CAF though, not to the beach.
Well, we'll go there later.
Eventually, we found the elusive ramp.
So this is where I can get on the beach then, Mike?
And I must admit, this wasn't here the last time I came. Let's see how the access is for you in your buggy.
It's a start, there's a lot more that can be done, but actually if this is here and there's a car park there and we know the issues that people like yourself have had this morning, signage is probably the answer. But that's an ongoing, there are little things that actually make the whole thing better.
According to one leading disability charity, almost 2/3 of the UK's top tourist destinations are not fully accessible, and only 13% said all their staff had disability awareness training. Yay! The authors of the survey, Vitalise, provide short breaks for people with disabilities at accessible centres across the UK.
We do it well, but we'd also like other organisations to do it well, because those tourist attractions, they are the UK's national treasure, and I think they should be open to everybody.
For Nicky, he hopes that one day a lack of disability awareness training and accessibility won't stop him from having a good time.
How far the review will go, I don't know. I just hope it goes far enough to make them change. Everybody in society should be allowed to access everything that is there.
Nikki Fox, BBC News.
Well, let's talk about those findings with Ross Calladine, who's from Visit England. That's the tourist board for England. Ross, good morning to you.
Good morning.
In England in 2014, should we even be having this discussion? Aren't you surprised by these findings?
There is definitely still more work to be done, but the good news in England is that we're making tremendous progress in this area. We actually launched our first national marketing campaign on accessible tourism in March. We worked with Brighton, Bath, Newcastle Gateshead and Leicestershire, and we took their businesses through a process to improve their accessibility. And we've got lots of guidance. Visit England provides a whole suite of support for tourism businesses, and one key area is the information, and that's the access statement. We've had this campaign since 2007, and we have seen hundreds of attractions produce an access statement which is written information about their accessibility, so that disabled people can make an informed choice as to whether that venue is going to meet their needs or not.
Wouldn't it be easier to name and shame those that frankly don't provide what they should?
Well, I'd rather talk about the excellent examples.
Well, I know you would, but
England.
obviously this is something that affects many people getting a lot of emails here, and it's not just those in wheelchairs, it's the visually impaired, it's others with disabilities. We're saying that really, at this time, we shouldn't be having a debate over those places that frankly don't care about them. To put it no stronger than that.
Certainly, and it's not, you're right, it's not just about wheelchairs. I mean, we've been supporting businesses to provide a welcome for those with hearing loss, and we work with the leading charity Action on Hearing Loss to provide guidance and also hearing loop checks for the 800 visitor attractions that are in Visit England's attraction scheme.
Is it the financial cost that seems to be the problem here, or is it more an attitude still?
Sometimes large physical adjustments can cost money, but there's plenty of things that businesses can do. The information, the disability awareness training, just small adjustments to their service to show that they offer a warm welcome. And we have lots of guidance and lots of good examples. So Eureka, the National Children's Museum in Halifax, they have a service called Extra Pair of Hands, and that's where they can provide 2 hours of a helper's time to a disabled family to help them enjoy the trip. And we've got examples of the National Theatre in London that provide touch tours for people with visual impairments. So there's lots of great work going on, and we're trying to position England as a leading destination for visitors with access needs.
So they might actually be quite good at providing access, but they're not very good at telling people about it.
And that's the challenge. We really want attractions to produce their access statement, put it onto their website, make it available as widely as possible.
And in terms of the attitude, are you still sensing that there is a reticence on the part of some tourist attractions to change?
I wouldn't say a reticence. I think there is a need for information, and we're providing that guidance, that detailed guidance, to answer the questions that attractions have in this area. So there's a lot of support available. We would persuade them to come and speak to Visit England, and we can help attractions to really tap into this market that's worth £2 billion to the English tourism industry.
Ross Calladine, it's good of you to join us this morning. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
And we'd love to hear your experiences on this. Some of you have been getting in touch already. Kim makes a point that Viking Bay, Broadstairs in Kent, has made the entire beach accessible with a slope one end and a lift at the other, and a wooden boardwalk the entire length of the beach. So a very positive comment from her.
Yeah, this is from Lynn Jones. She says she owns a party boat on the Thames. She spent a lot of money adapting our boat for wheelchair users, she said, and I contacted many disabled charities to let them know that we do so. Although we tried to accommodate our disabled guests, no one took any notice of our inquiries, and so she says they feel very disheartened by it all. So there is another side to this.
And Emma from Wirral is saying that her husband had a serious skiing accident in March, so day-to-day life really changed for them as a family, and it's very difficult for them to plan holidays because she says the access for disabled people is so much harder because of people's ignorance, and people with urgent needs are not being attended to.
Nick Jarvis says, I have MS and have used a wheelchair for the past 3 years. I love getting out and about. The biggest challenge, he says, is visiting parks, estates, zoos and National Trust properties. Their websites say accessible to disabilities. This is an extreme generalisation. My experience, this means that there is a disabled toilet and some parking. But once paid and inside the attraction, the paths are gravel and there are steps everywhere, he says.
Yeah, and if you do have any further comments, please do get in touch with us. Stay with us, though. On Breakfast, headlines are next.